Meanwhile, looting is now breaking out on the Caribbean island of St. Martin, where it was hampered and obviously hammered by Hurricane Irma. French and Dutch officials say that police reinforcements are being sent to the island to try to restore order. Though they say food, water, and security are the first priorities. Joining us right now to weigh in, former Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clarke, now a senior advisor and spokesman for the pro-Trump super PAC America First Action. Sheriff, it's always a pleasure to have you on the program. Thanks for joining us.
It's my pleasure, Maria.
Well, you've seen situations like this before. How big of a problem is the looting right now during natural disasters? Does that typically happen immediately, and how do you stop it?
Well, you know, it's one of those situations or considerations that somebody has to do something about, because when you're going to force evacuations, even if it's a voluntary evacuation, somebody has to protect that property. Government resources are stretched thin at times like that. So I think when a state of emergency is declared, government officials and citizens need to be given special exemptions during time like that. You're going to need those citizens that stayed behind to help you protect some of that property. I have no problem with using deadly force against looters. Look, we can either sit up here and shrug our shoulders and say, well, it's just a little property, it's just a little looting, so what? Well, I don't feel that way in these situations. And once order's restored and the state of emergency is lifted, then we go back to, you know, our normal situation, which would be that you can't use deadly force against property. But state of emergency, I think all bets are off.
In a state of emergency, when you're looking at Florida right now, when you're looking at Houston, how would you compare these kinds of situations? Well,
you know, you had the flooding, obviously, in Houston, and we don't know what Irma is going to do in the Florida situation, so I'll have to kind of play it by ear. But again, a state of emergency is declared, and so, you know, like I said, special dispensation, special exemptions have to be made. The things are different. If we see the flooding in Florida that they have in Houston, obviously there'll be some parallel situations, but until that happens, we'll just have to wait and see. I have no sympathy, Maria, no sympathy whatsoever for looters. I can't think of anything more disgusting than to take advantage of people when they're in a vulnerable situation.
Yeah, you're right. And also the price gougers. Let's throw those in there, too, because all of a sudden all prices for everything are skyrocketing, including gasoline. I just got a text from a friend who said he paid almost $5 a gallon in New York for gasoline. So let me switch gears, Sheriff, because here at home, Immigration and Customs Enforcement says that they're scrapping plans to carry out large nationwide immigration raids due to the hurricanes. They say that the routine operations will continue, but how common are these nationwide raids?
Well, you know, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, they do this on a routine basis. They've had some of them here in Milwaukee. They are effective. You know, that's what they have to do to deal with this situation of illegal immigration, especially when it comes to employers who aren't going to use E-Verify, and they're just going to keep wages down. They're driving down wages, and they're taking jobs away from Americans, and so they have to conduct these things. I'm tired of the crocodile tears about the illegal immigrants, the illegal aliens in this country, and how we need to feel sorry for them and pity them. No, we need to feel bad for Americans who can't find work. We need to feel bad for Americans whose wages are depressed because of this issue of hiring illegal aliens at a lower wage.
Caitlin Huey-Burns here. I wanted to ask you about your new role in the Trump super PAC. How did that come about as opposed to a role within the administration? And we've seen several of the president's closest aides from the campaign now outside of the White House. What kind of impact do you think that's having?
Well, I think it's going to have a huge impact, because you have to have an inside army and you have to have an outside army. You have to have a two-front situation to deal with this resistance. And when you're on the inside, and this was always the discussion with me, where could I best serve this administration and this president, on the inside or on the outside? And in the end, the determination was I could do a better job on the outside, because there are fewer restrictions in terms of what I can say, where I can go, and what I can do. So I'm pleased to be with America First, the team at America First Action, as we go out to defend this president, his policies, his agenda, and his vision for America.
What are your thoughts about the deal he struck with the Democrats yesterday, Sheriff?
Well, it should be an eye-opener to the GOP. Look, the GOP has been unwilling to use the power they have. The power they have are the votes. They could also change the filibuster rule in the Senate if they wanted to. They have shown little will as far as I'm concerned. And you know what? This president's made it very clear. He's going to work with anybody who wants to help make America great again. Who's willing to get something done? And he's not going to worry about ruffling feathers. He's not going to worry about stepping on toes. He's going to worry about America first.
Well, that's what he said yesterday as far as this deal is concerned. But do you worry that the Democrats are going to have all the leverage come December?
You know what? And when it comes to Congress, the Democrats have always had the leverage. When they're in power, they know how to use it. When they're out of power, they know how to use it. And they've been able to stymie the GOP at every turn. So it really doesn't matter in terms of the Congress as to which party's in power. At least that's what we're seeing right now.
Wow.
Couldn't get Obamacare through or the repealed. Couldn't get the you know, who knows what's going to happen with tax reform, the infrastructure bill. Immigration, illegal immigration reform. But I'll tell you what, they're like 9 months in this Congress, yeah, they've done some small things around the edges, but they promised us if they got power, they were going to go big and bold. We have not seen it out of this GOP-led Congress.
All right, we'll leave it there.
The president's led on all these issues, but he doesn't have any help from the GOP Congress.
All right, we'll be watching. Former Sheriff David Clarke, always a pleasure to see you, sir. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And by the way,